Pro wrestling is entertainment. And whether you're a wrestler, whether you're the WWE, or whether you're the HOC Pro Wrestling Training Facility, we're all telling stories. That's what we do. Yes, you're a wrestler, but you are your own business, and you need to run it like that. But what are we really selling? We're selling a dream. Hey guys, my name's Renee Stiebel. Welcome to the House of Champions podcast. I'm sitting here at our House of Champions Pro Wrestling Training Center in Longwood, Florida, here in our beautiful facility. And we're so excited to be kicking off our podcast. I'm running it solo today, but I am one half of the owners of this amazing gym. My husband, Nick, is what I call him, but a lot of you may know him by Jamie Stanley. He wrestles in the NWA, but I do not wrestle. So fun fact, I own a wrestling gym and I do not wrestle. But what do? I am a marketer. First and foremost, I currently work at a large CPG company where I get to manage some amazing, super cool, fun brands and bring their stories to life. So marketing is what's at the core of what I do. I love to bring life to brands and to really evoke emotion out of people and understand the psychology behind why did somebody just buy that? Or why is somebody interested in that? Why do they really relate to that? So anyway, marketing is what I do. And it's actually a really big portion of what we offer here at the HOC. The HOC, also known as the House of Champions. It will from here on out be called the HOC for simplicity. So yes, we offer training here. We have a full gym facility, and we have recovery options with our cold plunge and our infrared sauna, and those are all great. And it is a huge part of what we offer. But my baby, the offering behind what I do in this building, besides run the business, is teaching these guys, these kids, these girls how to market themselves. Because if there's one thing I know how to do, it is that. So that's my specialty here today. Behind what we offer within marketing, I mean, it runs the whole gamut, honestly. We start with branding. We start with their character, their story that they want to tell. We go all the way through resume development. Let's get your brand down to the colors, the feeling that you want to evoke from people. And then we help build out their socials. If there's a website involved, we can do that. We help with resume development. Anything that has to fall under the marketing umbrella, that is what I am here to do to help these students market themselves. First and foremost, we want to tell them, yes, you're a wrestler, but you are your own business and you need to run it like that. So that's what we're here to help them do. Just make sure they're very well-rounded when we set them off into the ring and to go get bookings. So there's two really main areas of marketing in wrestling, right? So there's two areas that I want to talk to you guys about today. The first is going to be around pro wrestler marketing. Obviously, this is what I help our students with, what I help my husband with as well. But the second part is marketing for our gym in general. So when we launched the HOC, what did the marketing look like behind this place, and how did we launch it? It really is a niche market. So just a few ideas around how to market to a niche crowd. So I want to start with I need to tell you guys, when we started the HOC, when we came up with this idea back, I want to say it was like November, what year is it? 2013. So 2022. We've been dreaming about starting some type of fitness facility. Nick and I have always been into fitness, but we should have really thought about where our strengths lie. And his is the wrestling industry and mine is marketing. And when we finally got that linked, we're like, oh my goodness, we need to open a wrestling gym. So we started building it out and doing the business plan, and I started telling friends and family about this idea, and you'd be surprised, the good ones said, yay, we're so excited. The more skeptical ones, and I shouldn't say they're not the bad ones, they're actually the realistic ones that really cared about my bank account. They said, is there a market for that? And I said, good question. Believe it or not, yes. I mean, Nick and I uprooted our entire family and moved to Florida on this dream to become a wrestler and make the big time. So yes, there's 100% a market for it because we're living it. How do you make money off it? That was the second step that I needed to figure out. But that'll probably be another podcast. But as far as does it work within a niche? Absolutely. I would say picking your niche and finding it and doing well is the secret. I was listening to a podcast the other day and somebody said, and I hate that I can't remember who it was. It may have been Rory Vaden. So I'm just going to give him credit in case it was him. He said, knit your face off. And when I heard that, I was like, ooh, that was affirmation for me, because there are moments as a business owner of, did I do the right thing? Did I go too singular? Was it too focused? But then he said, knit your face off. And I went home and I told Nick, I was like, well, we definitely niched our face off here. We picked quite the niche. So what is a niche, right? A niche essentially it's a market, it's a segment of a larger market that's defined by its own unique needs or identity, right? So basically take a really big generalist market and you hone it in smaller and smaller. That could be luxury goods, something really expensive. That can be like someone of a specific age range or education level. Maybe you're targeting somebody that lives in a certain area. That's another niche. And then you just keep diving deeper and deeper and deeper into the niche. Now, you can't get much more niche than, hey, let's move to Florida and open a pro wrestling school for aspiring pro wrestlers in one state. But here we are. And here we are with a good, healthy roster of members. And I think we're a living testament to knit your face off. Rory, if it was you, you were right. So when it comes to the actual marketing behind the niche that we chose, which is pro wrestling gym, and there's so many different words for it, right? Is it gym? Is it school? Is it academy? Is it training center? We call ourselves a training center because we're very all encompassing. We have a gym, we have recovery, we have training, we have marketing. So we are a full service center that helps train athletes. But what are we really selling? Are we selling how to be a wrestler? Are we selling meal prep out of the fridge? Are we selling a cold plunge to recover? Yeah, those are all things, but like, what are we really selling? We're selling a dream. Like, that is what we're selling. And it becomes ever apparent as we talk to leads and prospects of, we can tell them all the offerings we have, and it's very, very likely that they will walk out that door if we don't touch on the real thing they came in here to do, which is to chase a dream they've had since they were 8 years old, sitting on their couch, watching whatever era they watched on the TV with their aunt and uncle or grandma and grandpa or mom and dad. And that's what we're selling. So that's something that we always keep at the center of this building is we tell them the second they walk in, whatever your goal is, whatever your dream is, that is now our goal. And we are going to do everything we can to get you to that goal. Is it make the WWE? Great. Put it on the wall. That's our goal. Is it be the best indie wrestler in Florida for the next 5 years? Cool. Let's do it. Is it, I want to go to New Japan and I want to travel overseas. Okay, awesome. Like, that's what we're here to do. So that's what we're selling when it comes to this school. So as far as demographics for like how to pick your market, I'll be honest, as a CPG marketer, where I market a specific brand, it's usually honing down on a demographic is pretty easy for a niche market. And it has been. I'll say it. Yes, it has, and no, it hasn't. Because when you think about aspiring pro wrestlers, it's easy. I'm not going to put everybody in a box here, but really, there is a specific age range that we would market to. Generally, I would say 16 to probably 40. Anything past that is probably wasting my marketing ad spend, if I'm being 100% honest. But it's, as far as past age, it's been interesting trying to figure out how to get them in front of the right audience on our advertising platforms. So specifically for our gym, we have dabbled a little bit in TikTok advertising. We do mainly meta advertising, so Facebook and Instagram. But the behavioral interests is where we're really nailing in the beginning, where we were getting to our target audience. So it was pretty easy. I'm going to put easy to hone in on them, but there was a broad range of them. So it's either they're going to be interested in current wrestling, so WWE, Impact, AEW. I'm going to miss one. Someone's going to get mad at me. Remember, I'm not a wrestler, please. I'm learning. Or there's another big chunk of people that have never watched wrestling in their life that are still pretty hot leads and good potential prospects. And those are going to be.
She knows what she's talking about. Got this thing to look good.
We had a surprise run in for those not on YouTube. Jamie just can't stay away from the camera. If anybody watches him at NWA, he's just such a camera hog and a mic hog, isn't he? Okay. I lost my train of thought, love. Thank you for that. I'm back. The other portion is going to be the athletes that have never watched wrestling in their life, right? But I could use Nick Jamie as an example, but he did watch wrestling. But say he didn't. He was a college football player that didn't go on to the big leagues, and he had to go work a big boy job and had a pretty large void in his life, which was competitiveness, athleticism, like just being a part of a team and using his body. So he found that in the gym. But had he had a wrestling school near him, I think he would have jumped into it much quicker. So we're also, along with the fan that always had the dream that wants to do it, we also try to target, similar to what WWE does with their NIL program, is let's talk to the athletes that are leaving college that aren't going on to the pros, that want to continue their using their body to tell stories and athletic careers. So switching gears a little bit, that's the school. How do we market this niche school? But there's also a huge portion of the marketing that we teach our students, which is it's what I help the wrestlers with. So when Nick and I first met, I started working on his branding for his wrestling, and we built a character. Obviously, that's what wrestling is about. We built his character, but then we branded his character, and we made sure his branding around the character told the story that he wanted to tell in the ring. There's a really good story that I'll share at another podcast about how we got his foot in the door at NXT. But I'll tell you this, it was straight up branding. And it was the story we told through his marketing, his brand, his colors, and how we presented him online and on social media. So what do I teach my students here? Because I am the marketing teacher here, not the in-ring teacher. I teach them, first and foremost, that they need to tell a story. That is what they're selling. The school sells a dream. My students are selling a story. What's interesting about wrestlers is really their personal brand is their character. They need to be authentic and real. We know that Gen Z is craving authenticity and purpose behind everything. I think as a marketer, it'll be very interesting to see how characters evolve in the WWE based on this as well. In the past, obviously, a lot of the characters were more gimmicky and funny and true characters. Like, a lot of them weren't like that walking on the street. But now you do see the most successful characters are versions of themselves. Really, those are the ones that rise to the top. You've got your outliers that are like, okay, they're not really like that in real life, but there's just this authenticity to them. And I think it's because they're telling their real story. How can you not connect to them? It's relatable if you're being you. So I tell them to start there. Start with who you are. Find a unique aspect of yourself that you want to just blow up and fabricate, because obviously there's a character aspect, and the fun part is they get to be someone a little bit that they're not. Fun fact, he's gonna hate that I say this, but I wouldn't marry a jerk. And if you've watched Jamie online, he's kind of a jerk, but he is very dry humored and very dad dad jokes at home, and says really dumb things. I promise you that. So he dials that up, and it's the character that he has become. So I say start there. Start with who you are. Let's figure out the story you want to tell. And then I'm here to help build that out into the visuals that you see, and the tangible things that you see behind the characters as well. I'm going to shout out Rory again, just because I'm such a huge fan of his company, Brand Builders Group. But one of the other offerings we have here at the Hawk is I run the students through a marketing course every fourth Thursday of the month. Last month we did personal branding, and I ran them through the 6 questions that Brand Builders Group, Rory's company, runs people through when they're building a personal brand. And if you want to reference those, they're on their Instagram, but it's 6 questions that really set the stage and foundation for what you're trying to do. And I was explaining to the students, I'm like, I know this may seem formal and unnecessary, but the reality is if you can nail these 6 questions and understand the emotion that you want people to react to or the story you're trying to tell, when you're put in situations with promoters, then they say, hey, I want you to go out here and do this. You have a foundation to come back on and say, okay, let's look at my 6 questions. And is this something that I said I wanted to be and stand for in my character? Because you're going to be presented with things that you're like, is that something my character would do? And you might not know, and that's okay. You might not know, but now you have a reference guide to go back to and say, okay, no, yes or no, this is something that my character would do. I said to one of my students the other day, if I were to ask you right now, if I were to put you in a situation where, like, I don't know, something crazy were to happen, you were at a park and like a flash mob showed up, how would you react? They said, well, I would probably do X, Y, and Z. And I'm like, yeah, absolutely. You would do that because you know you better than anybody else knows you. So you know how you would react. What I want them to get to is I want to say, okay, now put Casey Vi, shout out Kyle, one of my students, put Casey Vi in that same situation. How does he react? And if you can't answer that for me, you're not there yet. You need to know in and out how your character is going to react. So start there. Start with the 6 questions. We'll put them in the notes so you can reference them and start answering those and start building them out. And I think that's your first step on really trying to build your character, tell your story, and then ultimately start wrestling and building a following with your fans. Either way, just to sum it up, to roll it up, pro wrestling is entertainment. And whether you're a wrestler, whether you're the WWE or whether you're the Hawk Pro Wrestling Training Facility, we're all telling stories. That's what we do. I tell stories when I market my brands, my CPG brands, the one you see at the shelf at Walmart. I'm telling a story in that too. So bring it back to wrestling, be entertaining, be authentic, and tell a consistent story. I think that's it for me today. We're going to do a lot more. I love talking marketing. I'm a super big nerd about it. And I love learning as well. I'm excited to share the students with you, the successes that we have, the failures that we have. Hope you guys stick with us along the way. And yeah, stay tuned. Love y'all.